Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with Mechanic Alliance, or a quarter of it in this case. So I guess I get to turn it over to myself for announcements. Eric, what have we got coming up? Well, you guys will be pleased to know that we've got the black hats that you guys have been after. Those are coming up real soon. Marv just got the prototype back a little while ago, I think yesterday, I want to say. And I tell you, they look sweet. I think we're all going to be happy with how those turn out. So I don't know when the production run's going to be available, but sometime soon. So just stay tuned for that one. We'll have those announced and all that good stuff in the groups. And also Wednesday, Bobby, you're going to have to correct me on this, but I think we got the second of 3 diagnostic classes that we're putting on. So that one's coming up here tomorrow. So if you've signed up for the first one, make sure you're there for part 2. And then next month, I don't know the date on that one. That one's also going to be part 3. So, as you can see, hey, I got it right on the first try. I got Travis Schroer over here. He's from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Travis, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Travis Schroer. Been in the field coming up on 18 and a half years. I've been everything from I started out as an apprentice to I've owned my own shop. I'm actually the shop foreman and assistant manager of Muskogee Nissan currently. Up until 19, I owned my own shop. It was a 3-bay with an outside lift as well. We had one mobile van that ran less often than it should have, but it did run on a fairly consistent basis. And that's kind of me.
Yeah, Shane says, is that where the wind comes sweeping down on the plains? The wind never stops.
Usually, and just east or just west of us is usually where the tornadoes are touching down. So
it keeps it interesting. I heard Missouri's getting a few recently too.
Yeah, Missouri's gotten a bunch. Arkansas got hit fairly recently, and then good old Norman, Oklahoma gets hit every year, every single year.
Of course, you know the unwritten rule about tornadoes, right? They always touch down in trailer parks.
Of course, they're magnets.
So if we just had fewer trailers parks, we wouldn't have this problem, right?
But then where would we get our entertainment from?
Oh, good point. We need the Billy Bob teeth and all that good stuff. Oh, let's see here. Who we got in the chat? We got Bobby's in, Kevin's in, Shane's in, Jackie Lynette, Sisson, I'll get it right, from Monroe, Louisiana, and Micah Valentine's here early in the show. Welcome, guys.
Nice. Glad
to have you here. So, anyways, one of the things, people of Walmart, says Bobby. So, the theme tonight we're going to dig into is we all kind of have our different takes on what it takes to be successful in this industry. And, there's a lot of guys that are out there that are the hardcore diag guys. We know who they are, and we appreciate them for it. We've got the monsters out there like Pat Grant, who currently is in Facebook jail, inmate 1101116. Oops, sorry, just got to speak binary. Leave the 6 off. Anyways, so let's just hit on that real quick. What do you think it takes to be successful in this industry? I mean, what's your top of the
it really depends on which side you want to go with. Since I've done intrapreneur and entrepreneur, if you want to be successful in a shop, the biggest thing is stay up on your training, keep your head low, don't feed into the shop drama. And I know everyone on here knows exactly what I'm talking about on the shop drama. Sometimes it's fun to light an advisor on fire and ruin their day, but it will eventually bite you in the rear end. I average between 100 and 140 hours a paycheck. So that's about 60 to 70 hours a week on flagged hours on top of being the shop foreman. Mostly just keep my head down low, and diagnostic can be your friend if you can train your advisors to sell it properly. I know we all hate it when we get that ticket that it's, my 99 Toyota Camry makes a clunk noise while going on a corner with the cruise control set and my fat uncle in the right front seat. And they're a nightmare to find. But if you can get your advisor to sell right off the point, hey, this is going to take 2 or 3 hours for us to find. We're going to need you to authorize that up front. There's money to be made. Now, that's kind of that side. The fun side, if you decide to go out on your own, you're in a whole different world. Everything I just stated is still 100% true, but you have to learn to ask for help. That was a huge problem for me because I am somewhat of a control freak when it came to my business, and it took a minute to give some of the control of it. But your marketing budget has to be insane. If people don't know you exist, you don't have the work. If you spend, I mean, at one point we were spending about $6,500 a month in marketing, but we were seeing a return of about $1.80 to $1.90 per dollar spent. So
That's
where I'm
not so
spending
bad.
that money, where I'm spending that money, it's coming back. And when your shop is consistently busy like that, it's very easy to find very good talent. That's another huge thing that I know Eric just lit up as soon as I said it.
So now I got to ask the question, because I'm the marketing guy with Mechanic Alliance. What were the kinds of things that you were spending your marketing dollars on?
So we started off, and I hope this doesn't offend you, we started off doing what everyone else did. We did the Facebook thing, the Instagram thing. We got into Google Ads, and I'm going to tell you right now, you do not want Facebook. You do not want Instagram customers. It probably took us 6 months to learn that. While yes, you can get a ton of traffic off of Facebook and Instagram, and you truly, truly will. These are going to be guys that are going to drag in cars that 4 other shops have already touched. They've burned their bridges at 3 of them, and it's going to come to your shop, and they're going to expect you to fix a broken timing belt for $250, $300 and just have completely unrealistic expectations. And there's always going to be exceptions to that rule. We had a few customers off Facebook that I wouldn't have traded for the world, but as a rule, most of them were a nightmare. Google Ads was a huge thing. I know a lot of people don't use Bing, but here's the thing. A lot of old people use Bing. A lot of old people want their cars fixed and have money. So we got good on Bing. Better Business Bureau, we always stayed up to date. They didn't really drive a lot of work, but they went to bat for us with customers more often than not. So, I mean, it's really making sure that you have a very good online presence. But in my marketing fund, I also consider community stuff marketing, and it's in that same marketing fund. We did a lot of community involvement. I mean, we did barbecues every couple of weeks at the shop that we would close down on a Saturday and invite the general public to come out, check us out, tour the shop, have some hamburgers, meet the guys, that kind of stuff. And these people, we noticed that people who came out to our events on a regular basis, these were the guys that I could call them up and be like, hey, your BMW X5, you were 100% right. It does need an alternator. Unfortunately, it is a water-cooled alternator. It's 10 and a half hours of labor. The part is $950. You are looking at $2,600 in repair, and they wouldn't bat an eye. They're just, okay, cool. Go ahead and get it fixed, Travis. I appreciate it. Or they'd come in and they would pre-authorize work. They'd get in and they'd say, hey, my 6-liter Power Stroke died while I was driving. I've been online. I've seen the most common thing is the high pop. I've also seen it's usually about $2,300, $2,400. If that's what it is, just fix it.
Yeah. So I got to put it out there. I just lost my Facebook side.
Yes.
I've got it up on my phone. So all my comments are kind of weird now, guys. So I apologize. On my other screen, I've got Page is unresponsive. So yeah, we're just going to let that sit there because it seems to be working live. We're just going to keep it on. And
all right.
Now, just as a preface or something, my own take on it, the social media side of advertising, when you do all the ads and stuff, those are the kinds of customers you get. Social media is a long game. I mean, this is one of those things where you ultimately you niche down, and you figure out who your ideal customer is, and that's the person you work to attract to your business. Social media it's not a silver bullet. It does take some time to really do it right.
Yeah, and because I will admit, I eventually got fed up with trying to do the marketing thing, and I paid someone. something he drove home to me, because I actually wanted to kill him. I wanted to get rid of the Facebook marketplace. I wanted to get rid of the page. I wanted to get rid of all of it because, again, the customers that were coming in were not the ones we wanted. And his thing was, he said, I understand where you come from that, but the average person spends an hour and a half to 2.5 hours on social media a day. If you want brand recognition, which you will need, still just don't try and drive your customers from social media platforms. Try and engage with people. That way, when they see your advertisement, either in print ad or in person or anything like that, they're like, oh, hey, I saw a bunch of your stuff on Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I encourage people out there, show off the interesting repairs, show off the interesting cars you get. Because let's face it, people always like seeing the fun stuff. I mean, like that dart over your shoulder. A friend of mine runs a muffler shop, and he was always posting pictures of, hey, we had this, 68 Challenger roll through the shop. He says we put new exhaust, factory-ish style, not perfect reproduction, but good enough to be driven. He had a GT40 that he actually built the headers on, and he was very proud of it, and rightfully so. The thing was a work of art when he was done. So, I mean, it was just cool stuff. If you're going to do it, put it out there. The things that you've got. Testimonials is another thing that I like to see on your social media stuff, is so that way people see that we do have customers. We really have customers, and these are the kinds of things they're saying. So, I could keep going on the marketing and social media side for hours, but that's not why we're here.
Well, and I mean, not just to, bring your joyousness up. When it comes to owning your own, it is legitimately one of the most important parts of it. It is a part that every mechanic, because, I mean, I did it. When I left being at my buddy's independent shop to kind of learn the business side of it so much, I didn't do a lot of marketing for the first 2-3 months, and I struggled, man. I put a bunch of bills on credit cards. It was getting ugly. I was actually thinking about closing it down, and I took a risk and did some marketing, and we took off like a rocket ship after that. So, I mean, marketing it's important, guys. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it really is. And it's been said, like, we have all these virtual assistants out there for various other businesses. They exist so that way, if you've got something that you don't have time to do, you don't feel you're particularly good at, you don't want to do, hand it off to someone else. I mean, if any of you out there says, hey, I want some help with my social media, hit me up. We'll talk. I mean, I'm more than happy to help you in any capacity that you need. I mean, we can set something up from bare bones basic to, you want me to run your entire social media? I can do it. It's there. We can do it. We can make it happen.
And speaking of that, I've actually got something slowly cooking on the fires that I will have to be talking to you about the marketing side in a couple of weeks. So
we're here.
Expect that.
I'll just write that down real quick. I'll write it down later. Now, if I write it down later, I'll forget it. Schroer, MKTNG. There. It's the nice thing about being at my desk. I've got all my writing stuff over here. So let's, the marketing side. That's not everyone's strong suit, but we understand that. So let's talk about your experience as a foreman and what that really means, because we've heard everything from foremans that don't have a workload, they just kind of float around and are useless, taking up space, to guys like you that are out there getting stuff done, helping everybody. What's your take on being a good, successful foreman?
So there is two different styles of foreman. The first one that you were talking about is more of an old school thing, and it's going away, which is a good and bad thing. The non-flag inactive guys, they were great because, man, if you had some nightmare job you spent too much time on, you walked the keys over and dumped it on their desk and said, hey, it's your problem now. Good luck. This is what I've done. And they'd take over. I personally, I'm actually a fan of the pay style I'm on. It's actually the pay style I requested. I like active foremen. I'm in the mix every day. I'm spinning wrenches, still doing diagnostics because I don't want to get rusty is the biggest thing. I don't want to lose some of this knowledge I have. But if we have a customer that has an issue, I've got a technician that's drowning, or we're just buried, that's my time that, I can stop on whatever I'm flagging for the day, and I transfer over to being a full-time shop foreman. And of course, pay-wise, I have a shop foreman bonus that covers about 10 and a half hours, 10 and a half, 12 hours a week. So, I mean,
Right.
I've got time to earn to do it. And I feel like that's the best way to do it, because in my mind, the shop foreman job is a lot more than what a lot of technicians think it is. A lot of techs just think, oh, this is the guy, he knows the most knowledge, he's the highest technician. And that's really not what it should be. You need to be on your guy's side at all times. I hate to do the split between service, but we call it on the other side. It's all fancy glass room and cage, as they should be. But if my technicians have an issue with a manager, with an advisor, with another technician, they come straight to me, and it's my job to fix that. If I've got a technician that's got some personal stuff going on, it's my job to make sure everyone else doesn't exactly know what the personal thing is, but knows, hey, so-and-so's got some stuff going on. Be easy. Let's get them some easy wins, that kind of stuff. Shop morale is a huge part of my job. It's honestly probably 40 or 50% of my job is just making sure everyone wants to be there. Everyone's happy. Everything's running smoothly. Because, I mean, as you guys have pointed out more than once, if you have bad management, you don't want to be at work. You could be the best technician on the planet. Your productivity rate's still going to be 50 or 60% because you didn't even want to come in the morning. So your shop foreman should be the guy that fixes that. I can't do it. To go fix that before. So that's a lot of it. Keeping up with specialty tools, as big of a nightmare as that is, it's a big part of the job. Lift maintenance, equipment maintenance, pretty much you are the guy that keeps the shop running smooth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All the plant maintenance, it's like, hey, are all the safety things checked off? Are we keeping OSHA off our back? Are we, is everybody happy with donuts and pizza on Fridays? I don't know. Those are all important things. No, and really being a lead is a lot more important. I mean, I've been in a lot of situations where the lead is on my side as the employee, and they look out for us, and it makes things go so much smoother. I've had leads on the other side where it's like, yeah, I don't have a workload, I don't have to do that, so yeah, I'm just over here being a yes person, doing exactly what the uppers say, and it really takes a lot out of it. I mean, it's like I don't have the advocate that I need when I need it.
And that's a perfect word to use. I wish I would have thought of that, but yeah, I mean, that's what you are. You are the advocate for the technicians. And I mean, luckily me and my manager have a very good working relationship, but don't think that doesn't mean me and him have had yelling matches in his office with his door closed about a technician.
Yep. So how does training fit into your workload?
So for me, unfortunately, Nissan, and if there's any fellow Nissan techs, you guys will understand this, Nissan has done the Nissan technician dirty. There is no paid training. There is no op codes for training. There is nothing. The only thing you get paid for is in-person training. So, I do have classes that I have to go to. I try and keep my guys up on their certifications, but it does make it difficult because you can already tell the exact wording I get. Why am I going to do that at home? You ain't paying me. And I have worked with management to try and rectify that. But from my understanding, it's not my management. It's not even my ownership that's making the decision. Nissan feels that it is a part of your job to stay up on training unpaid. It sucks.
Wow.
But on that same note, Nissan is a smaller manufacturer. So I'm
Yes.
not going to say that they're struggling, because I mean, we have done phenomenal as a dealership, and I know we are one of the few that's not having car shortage issues. But I think it's just Nissan's still learning a lot of this as it goes. And I've heard Mitsubishi's the same way, so it's not that big of a surprise. I do. Sorry, I know you keep wanting to say something. I do tell my guys, hey, I need ASE certifications. I do all that kind of stuff. My lube techs are actually in process of getting their G1 certification, which is the new light maintenance and general repair certification ASE came out with. So I'm a big believer in training. I mean, I'm on your guys' Zoom stuff. I'm on a tuning one myself, and I probably spend 3 or 4 hours a week doing training, because the knowledge is never going to hurt you. And if you decide to jump into your own, you're going to need that knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, on an interesting side note, both, Nissan and Mitsubishi, they have an industrial side that a lot of other manufacturers, I guess
Yes.
Hyundai has that industrial side, but they've got
Hyundai
a side that a lot of,
largest.
that's true. I mean, especially over in the Asia area, everything over there is Hyundai everything. It is
So
what it is. It
actually,
makes you wonder what their heavy duty
not
side
to
looks like for
sideline
training.
us.
Go ahead.
Yeah, not to sideline us too far, but something in mind. Me and him were having a discussion about it, because I don't have a lot of great things to say about Hyundai. Hyundai is the largest steel manufacturer. They are the largest cargo ship manufacturer, and they are the largest large engine producer on the planet. The only way Hyundai would ever go out of business is if Japan went there. Not Japan, if Korea went under as a country. Other than that, financially, they would never have a reason to close. So, thought that was kind of cool. That's definitely interesting. Not something I would have thought about with Hyundai.
No. I mean, the cars is like, we're doing everything else. We might as well do a little bit here. And I'm a classic American iron, guys. I eat, sleep, breathe American stuff. But
yeah, and from my understanding, the Hyundai cars is actually started by the owner's nephew as a hobby company. I need some rich people in my life to let me have a hobby company.
Yeah, Micah says Hyundai and Kia, pretty good brand to me. I know, at least working on them. I know Zach's a big Hyundai fan. Especially, he was hoping that his wife's Hyundai was going to get that code to stab a new engine in it, just for the sake of, through the code, let's do a new engine.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the whole industrial side is kind of unique. I mean, don't forget, guys, I've been a machinist by trade. I know this is Mechanic Alliance. I play with the old stuff. I'm the machinist of the group, so to speak. So I got to see all of the NC equipment, the heavy equipment on that side, and Hyundai always seemed to work there. So
Yeah, and honestly, it hurts me to say this. After about 17 or 18, they're good cars. They really are. They finally pulled their head out of their butt and fixed 90% of the issues. So, I mean, I'm still not buying one, but
I'll say it. There have been more Hyundais that have caught my eye recently than most other car manufacturers.
Yeah, and we've already been warned at Nissan, because I'm excited. We're getting the Z car back, and it's going to be a turbo 3-liter direct injected. The warned that their two biggest moves are going to be which I think and Kia Stinger is like one of our big competitors now. So.
Yeah. So can you repeat that on the Z car? You were cracking up there. So you got the turbo direct injected 3-liter.
Getting Z. Yeah. So we're getting a 3-liter direct injected turbo. They've been telling us, we are going to have some stiff competition, that kind of stuff. They've listed, I guess, the GT86 Toyota is getting redesigned, revamped, and that's going to be one of our bigger competitors on it. And then the one that ties into what we're saying, we were told one of the bigger competitors for that car is going to be the Kia Stinger. which is that little rear-wheel drive twin turbo saloon. So I mean, Kia and Hyundai, they're starting to really put some fun cars out and good marketing, and
So when they
we can't ignore them anymore.
That's true. When they reboot the Z, is it going to look more like it used to, or more like it did on that abomination?
They have redone it. It's the taillights are supposed to be representative of the 300Z. The front end is real 240 like. Personally, I'm a huge fan. I'm a car guy. 240, 280, 300, 350. The only fuck is for the that goofy little 260, and then I haven't owned a 370, but I'm probably buying one. It looks pretty badass.
That's cool.
And you can get it with a stick. You can get it with a 6-speed.
Okay, so 3-liter, that's a good size engine by today's standard. All the auto manufacturers go into these 1 point nothing liters. Come on, guys, let's put some cubes to it, not these little 80 cubic inches. Come on, motorcycles have bigger engines. So I mean, 3 liters plus boost and a stick.
Yeah,
that sounds like an entertaining new car.
And from my understanding, it's the same 3-liter that Infiniti has been using for a couple of years. So guys have already pushed those things up just over 500 on E85 and tune alone, nothing else. So there'll be some fun in the future.
Sounds like it'll give my El Camino a run for its money on the drag strip.
I will try.
Now, keeping in mind it's a low compression, big torque 383 and a moderately heavy car, but it's consistent.
They're fun. They're quick.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was a fun detour there we had.
Sorry.
Oh, hey, don't worry about it. That's what this is all about. We're just here having fun. Bobby says he worked at a Chevy Hyundai dealer back in 2002, and we had Hyundais coming in on tow trucks every day with transmissions grenaded. There were two guys whose sole job was just to do transmissions.
Yeah, and I will say the transmissions and the engines are still plaguing them. My buddy who's a Hyundai technician texted me this morning that he was starting on motor number 4 for the week. Yeah,
4.
And
that was like on a Tuesday?
Yeah, it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday at like 3:30. He has a helper, so he's cheating. But it takes him and his helper about 4.5 hours to yank and stab and drive out a car.
Oh, that's moving. I don't think I could have the engine out of my El Camino in 4 hours. And that's pretty simple. I don't have all the extra wires. Power on the distributor. Take the distributor out because we don't want that broke. Take the carburetor off. The bell housing bolts. The motor mount bolts. Disconnect all the accessories. I could probably have it out in a couple hours without working.
I feel like it is now a challenge. We're going to need that live streamed.
No. Not exactly my favorite thing to yank the motor out of a car just because. But the Mechanic Alliance, can we yank this motor out of the El Camino live stream? Maybe someday. We have to put a big block in it.
I bet you me and Bobby can swing over.
Yeah, Bobby will threaten me to LS swap it, though. I think I'd rather stick with my carburetors and, consistency there. Travis, did we lose you? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I seem to be in and out. Sorry.
That's cool. We'll make it work. Oh, Bobby says he'll be yanking his Firebird engine at some point. He'll totally live stream it live on Mechanic Alliance.
Yes.
Watch Bobby suffer. It's still Bobby. It is a small block. It is just injected. Is that the tune port or is that the TBI or the ceasefire?
When he does that live stream, we'll have to put a little counter in the bottom that shows how many beers he's had.
We're going to have to put a parental advisory warning across the top. Keep children away. We're going to have a swear jar or a swear counter, and I think we're going to have quadruple digits there. What do you say, Bobby? Ooh, Holly Stealth Ram. Okay, that's cool. We'll take that. Sorry about that. Allergies are killing me, and I have no voice.
Oh, you're good.
Ooh, Matt
So,
King says every cuss word requires a shot of whiskey.
oof.
I don't think we're going to last much more than 15 minutes at that rate.
I'm also slightly concerned the motor might go in like upside down or backwards.
Thanks for being a good sport, Bobby. We appreciate it. So we've talked about your foray into business ownership and what being a good foreman actually means. Let's hear. So you talked about marketing as being one of your biggest um, uh, issues, pain points early on getting started to be able to get, people in the door. What were other things that you experienced in the business ownership side that were things like, hey guys, let's watch out for this. We can get through it better.
Man, how many hours we got?
Um,
So, little backstory. When I left because the dealership I was at was doing questionable things. It just the final straw for me was I helped a little old lady, literally little old lady, get her van to the dealership to get a battery put in, and they tried selling her like $1,800 worth of work, and I was just like, yeah, I'm done. So I started mine. Did the mobile, struggled a little bit, got marketing, was not prepared. 100% was not prepared for that to hit and hit hard. So I'm telling you guys, it's going to happen to you. You're going to do this. I don't have enough work. I don't have enough work. I don't have enough work. You're going to get to a point where you're going to be sitting there going, holy, I can't keep up. I have too much work. I can't do this. And you're going to freak out because I did. We got to a point where, like I said, I started out mobile. I've got a 99 Chevy Astra van. It's actually sitting outside the garage door. Great little van. If anyone's looking for buying a van, those things are amazing.
those 4.3s seem to live forever.
Mine's got 295,000 miles on the chassis, and the motor's got 360. Yeah. And I mean, it lived for 100,000 of those with a fairly large compressor and God, like 2,500 pounds of tools in the back of that thing. But so we got to a point with the mobile business that scheduling 10 hours a day, actual work time between 12 and 13 hours, I was scheduled out 2.5 to 3 months for literally anything. I couldn't sneak in oil changes. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. I struggled with the decision of to buy a second van or buy a shop. Again, kind of a control freak, something I'm working on. We did the shop so I can keep an eye on my guys because I didn't want bad work coming out of my business. So I bought a 3-bay shop and we've leased it out. Actually, there's a very good pain point I didn't even think about. If and when you guys get to the point where you're going to lease out a building, have your lawyer present. And if you don't have a lawyer, get a lawyer. No ifs, ands, maybes. The retainer's going to cost you about $8,000. It's going to be worth every penny. Unfortunately, when I did this, I did not. I thought I knew better. I went through the lease tooth and nail. It ended pretty ugly. Our landlord put us on a triple net, so we were paying taxes, repairs, literally everything for this gentleman's building without owning it. And he was able to sneak a clause in there that every 6 months he can adjust the lease payment to market value. So we started leasing with him at $1,100 a month, and it slowly climbed up to $26 over about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So lawyers, man, I know we all probably have not great thought processes when it comes to lawyers, but you got to have one. But yeah, so you're going to do that. If you do your marketing and you do some community involvement and that kind of stuff, it took us about 9 months to have 3 technicians. And I mean, 9 months from starting, not from going from the mobile van to a building. 6 months in the van, 3 months in the building. I had 3 technicians and we had a 3 or 4 day wait period. My techs flagging. I had one young kid that flagged around 5-6 hours a day, but he was super green and learning. My other 2 guys flagged between 8 and 13, depending on what they had going in the shop. It gets busy. It gets crazy busy, crazy fast, especially if you build yourself a good reputation. The biggest pain points is just watching people, man. It kind of stinks to have to think that way, but I I had a bad landlord pretty much right off the bat, and I fought with that man until we decided to close the building and get out of New Mexico. I hired on a couple of bad technicians that definitely hurt our shop reputation. I mean, we had one lock up a motor on a car that literally had 13,000 miles on it. I got to spend about $6,500 to get a motor, all the fluids, everything else changed out. We ended up changing out his turbo too because technician shipped the car with no oil, so I couldn't tell if the turbo. Yeah, I couldn't tell if the turbo was good or bad or was hurt. So I just said, hey, you know what? We found it was like a 3,000 mile car. Told them, send me the motor, send me the turbo, send me all the lines, like just replace it all because I don't want it to come back.
Yeah.
We should have built a reputation with one parts store earlier on. I was bouncing around between, unfortunately, Pep Boys at the time and CarQuest and Napa for about a year. And then we finally had to sit down with the Napa guys, and I pretty much just told them, I'm like, listen, you guys don't want me going to all these other companies, make it worth my time. And they put us on a tier 2 Napa Auto Care pricing strategy. I mean, I was buying alternators for $76 that retailed for $160. I mean, if you sit down and you show these guys, we have a good business plan. Oh, yeah, I should have said that one a while ago. If you don't have a business plan, 5-year expectation, you should have it written out and follow it. But if you go into Napa, go ahead.
Dave Swenson, our business guy. Dude can write a business plan that is so specific, you will know what you're going to make before you even open the door. He is that good at it. So,
and it's important because not only do your parts guys, your parts counters, all that kind of stuff want to see that as you're expanding, you're going to have to finance stuff. I bootstrapped 90% of my business out of my own pocket. And when we finally got to that point to where we needed big money, the thing that saved us, because since we bootstrapped it, we never had any business credit. Don't do that. So when we went in with the business plan to our local bank, he was very impressed that we had it out 5 years and we met most of our metrics within time period. I mean, we missed a couple, but the majority, yes. And he was able to bang us out a $30,000 equipment loan without too much argument or fight.
Nice.
So, but yeah, build that relationship with one parts house right off the bat. I mean, of course, you're going to have to go to other ones when your main one doesn't have the parts. But if you build that relationship, at least with Napa, dude, Napa would bend over backwards to save us. The one that's specific in my mind, I had a gentleman with an older Mercedes. He was traveling through town. Fuel pump gave out. He limped it into my shop just because he had heard we were a decent shop. The closest place to Albuquerque, New Mexico that had this fuel pump was El Paso, Texas. Problem is, he came in Saturday at 2:30. Cut off for getting parts overnighted is 11 o'clock. And on Friday, it's at 5.
Yeah.
My parts manager at Napa Auto Care got his branch manager to paying him to drive to El Paso and back to get this guy back on the road. He had us that fuel pump 7 a.m. Monday morning.
There again, we've talked about it before. Relationships are key. You take the time to develop a good relationship with your parts guys. I mean, like your credit union or bank, your local financiers, your community.
We have one
good relationships.
We have one through Mechanic Alliance that I'm actually, again, I got to talk to you, but I'll be talking to them in the next couple of weeks to get a little bit of funding for secondary income I'm getting ready to open up.
Yep.
And as backwards as this is going to sound, guys, reach out to your local shops. That was a huge thing in New Mexico. I was part of a shop owner group out there. We had the same thing. We had Facebook pages, Zoom calls. The cooler thing was every single Saturday, there'd be a mass text sent out, hey, we're all meeting up here for breakfast. And we'd get there and there'd be 25, 30 of us sitting there talking shop, making friendships. And it was beautiful because you not only had access to a whole lot more knowledge and you made some amazing friends. I mean, these are people I still call and talk to, and I'm 900 miles from these guys. But on top of that, there's so many times I got over my head on some car that I didn't think would be an issue. And I called someone, was like, hey, I've got this going on. Have you ever ran into this? Oh yeah, I got the special tool, man. I'll be up there in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You never know when someone has a capacity that you don't. I mean, it's going to be impossible for any shop to be able to do everything. As much as we'd like to think we could, there's some realistic, issues of tools, an alignment machine. You're gonna have to, it's like I've got lots of friends that have shops with alignment machines, but none of them could handle my long bed crew cab dually. Like, you got to go to this one place because they're the only place around that has the alignment machine. Tell them we sent you, they'll hook you up.
Yeah,
and one of those things.
And another great benefit, and this is going to sound harsh, but the guys who've been in business for a little while, they'll totally understand what I'm talking about. You're going to get a customer that's going to come from another shop, and they're going to walk into your shop bad-mouthing that other shop, and they're going to say, these guys couldn't fix this, they couldn't fix that, they couldn't fix this. Don't be rude to the customer, get the car and whatever else. As soon as they leave, if you know the shop owner or people over there, you can call over there and be like, hey, I have this customer at my shop. What happened? And if they're good friends with you, they're going to be honest. Hey, we put a technician on it that wasn't capable of it. Dude, it's on us. Like, we messed up. Or you're going to get the other side of, hey, be careful with that customer. And right off the bat, whether you still want to work on that car or not, if you do work on it, hey, everything's got to be dotted I's, crossed T's, like this person's already burned other people. You just got to be careful.
Yeah. It's one thing if a customer comes and says, hey, I've got this other shop worked on it, real humble about it, saying it just isn't right. That's very different than, this shop, there's such piles of garbage and this, that, and the other. And
and
it's like you got to have good customers. You got to be good owners too. And that's important.
And what sucks, and I'm sure everyone will agree, customers rarely say the good. They really do. I mean, you can have a great customer for 25 years, never do anything wrong. They're never going to say anything great about you. But man, that first time you do anything, you're getting trashed on the internet.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be a keyboard warrior when it's anonymous in a sense.
Yeah. So, but I mean, other than that, I mean, pain points are going to be your normal pain points. Keep your stress levels in check. It's kind of a harsh thing to say, but make sure you're in good physical condition. A lot of people really don't think about that and don't realize, hey, I've got some health issues. Maybe owning my own shop with a ton of stress and a ton of headache and working 17, 18-hour days, is great as that can be, man, right now might not be the time. Get some of your health stuff fixed, because even if you're healthy, it tears you down a little bit. Little background, at the time I was 32 years old. I'm fairly active. I do powerlifting now, but at the time I was boxing. I ended up having a heart attack with my shot. I mean, if you don't manage your stress levels, it will tear you up. So pretty much just kind of make sure you have everything documented. Make sure you have someone other than you to look stuff over. Make sure you're mentally and physically ready to do this, and just know, when you do this, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but just like anything else in life, if you want something good, you got to fight for it. You got to have that challenge. No one gets this stuff the easy way. If they did, everyone would have a shop. Everyone would have a Ferrari. Everyone would have everything they've ever wanted.
Right. But that goes part of the mindset. Oh, hey, no, I get it. And that also goes back to my Mindset Mondays. If you guys don't watch those, you need to. 8 a.m. Utah time every Monday morning. But
or be a bum like me and watch them about 10, 30, 11, but it still gets the same idea.
That's good too. It's just as good there. It's just as impactful, I promise. But going into this with the right mindset, if you're just going into it kind of like, whatever happens, that's exactly what you're going to get. If you're going into it with clear expectations, with clear goals, with your head screwed on straight, that's what makes a difference. If you're going to get mired down in the negativity, oh yeah, it's going to be a disaster real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much of that around. You just have to keep going.
Hey, Eric, give me 3 seconds. I've got a knock on the garage door. Let me see what my daughter needs.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah, so this is awkward. Let's see. Let's just say take a peek in the comments section here. Matt King, the 4.3 V6, power of a 4-banger, fuel economy of a V8. An under-stressed engine will live forever. Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen some 4.3 V6s go through hell and back, and they seem to keep on keeping on. But, they're unique. Let's see here. Oh, the bad, talking about the bad mouthing of shops and groups. Yep, we see a lot of that in here. On Facebook, social media is ripe for that. Kevin says, when you gotta pee, you gotta pee. Ain't that the truth? Guys, I've been drinking on my swimming pool here because got to keep my vocal cords working a little bit, and they're starting to get kind of thin.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Welcome back.
Sorry, it was actually the wife. She just got back from Tulsa. So she was like, hey, we're back. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm still on
there. Kevin says it's okay. When you got to pee, you got to pee.
No, I got a back corner for that. Hell, I'm actually talking about, I keep threatening the wife I'm going to put a urinal out here. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of stress, but I'm telling you guys, it's worth it. It really is. If you play your cards right, I know we all enjoy wrenching. I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but at some point, guys, your body starts saying no. So, I mean, if you get into this, you get into it a little bit earlier, you can build it up to where, when you're in your 40s, your 50s, you can go out to the shop and work if you want to, but you don't have to.
That's right. You can keep your hands moving for your own projects.
Yeah. And still actually want to do them.
Yeah. And, kind of an interesting thing that I'm seeing here. We had Andre on a few weeks back, and, the thing that he likes the most is the freedom. He's got his wife, his kids, his grandkids. He's able to schedule things around his family.
Yeah.
Something needs to happen, he can go make it happen. Having the freedom to be able to do that. And I realize that not every owner is in a position to be able to do that, but being able to have the freedom that you want is important.
Yeah. And eventually, when you get into having a brick and mortar, if you get out of the mobile side, you're going to end up with hopefully a good shop foreman or an assistant manager. And I mean, if these are guys you can trust, you and the kids and wife want to go on vacation, you can leave them in charge and know the building's not going to be burned down in a week when you get back, and you still have money flowing in.
Let's face it, having the residual flowing in, that's kind of a dream for a lot of people.
It really is.
Anyways, any other closing thoughts?
Well, I'm actually going to be the challenge real quick. Me and you had actually talked about this previously, and it's something I cannot get behind.
Yes.
You know what it is.
I forgot about this.
I cannot justify 50%.
Okay.
And I can not justify it 50% as a shop owner because I don't want to be a 1 or 2 man shop. I feel like 50% is doable, but the problem is that 50%, it needs to be a partnership. If you want to be 50% of my money coming in, you need to be on the hook and you need to be responsible for some of this stuff. I mean, I fully understand every shop is different. I really do. When it came to my shop, I paid the lease, I paid the insurance, I paid the lawyers, I paid workman's comp, I paid for all of the equipment. I've actually mean, if we want, we could do a tour real quick. I still have a ton of it. But I mean, at one point we had about $85,000 in shop equipment, not including the lifts.
Right.
I mean, AC machines, everything else. So as harsh as that is, I can't justify giving a technician 50% of our walk-in rate if I'm personally paying out 30 or 40% of it to overhead, shop running, keeping things going, getting us new equipment, that kind of stuff. So it makes it hard to swallow when you sit there and you look back and you're like, man, I really enjoy having this technician here, and I get that he wants 50% of the money coming in, but at the end of the day, this technician is responsible for $250 profit for the day versus enough money to actually keep things afloat.
Right.
So,
and the 50% gets an asterisk.
Okay.
And keep in mind, Marv and Dave are the guys that have all the information for this. I know enough to get myself in trouble.
Yes.
So I'm going to be extremely careful and pick my words through this rather carefully.
All right.
So how do hairdressers do it? There's booth rent, right?
Yes.
You have a similar arrangement with a shop. So in a sense, the facilities isn't necessarily 100% on you.
So I actually ran into what you're talking about.
Okay.
As a shop owner, I told him no for some very specific reasons. In my mind, my rack should earn me about $400 to $450 of profit a day, and that's assuming a 10-hour day. So even if I have the technician paying me that $400 a day and doing the 50% rate, the reason I said no was what happens if someone gets hurt? What happens when he has a major comeback? Because I'm not going to be able to come after him as a person, and even if I could, I wouldn't. I don't believe in doing that. Hell, I'm working with a lawyer to try and get that 2014 judgment thing re-looked at. But I had talked to a few people out in bigger cities that utilized that for a short amount of time, and all of them pretty much said the same thing of, it is a viable option, but they would have to carry their own insurance policies. They'd have to carry their own liability policies. So by the end of it, they're probably going to end up making less than they were making an actual wage. So I actually sat down and thought about this a whole bunch, and I kind of have a feeling you knew I was, because I bugged you a few times about it, about talking points, where I can't get behind 50%. I can get behind 33.3. And the reason I say 33.3 is anyone who's in business for themselves right now already knows government takes 20% right off the top. That's non-negotiable. They're stealing it. We're not big enough to take it back yet. And as soon as some people are ready, I'm down. I'm so down.
Make taxation theft again.
Yeah. But so, I lose 20% right off the top. I'm going to lose roughly another 20% between insurance and business and everything else. At 33%, I fully expect you to have my level of tools. I don't expect you to have an AC machine or anything crazy like that, but you should have all your own diagnostic software, and I shouldn't really need to keep up with that. And 33% of most shops, I don't know, you're up in Colorado, right? I'm
in Utah, northern Utah.
You're in Utah. So I'm not sure on Utah. I fudgered that one up. But
that's fine.
In the bigger cities in Colorado, it's between 200 and 250 for luxury line, and between 175 and 225 for your standard cars. Even down here in Muskogee, we range between 130 to, I think Chevy just went to 180. So 33% of that, we're still talking 50. Just on average. $50 an hour ain't anything to gawk at. I mean, 50 bones an hour, not having to worry about insurance, not having to worry about anything else. And my reasoning on that is, even at that percentage, I'm still, as a shop owner, making about 15-20%. So it
Right.
still makes it worth all my headache to do it. Which, when you add those two numbers up and come out to 53% and realize exactly how much of your money just goes missing, God, it makes you cry inside a little
It
bit every
does.
time.
It really does. And admittedly, running those numbers, you had 20% to Uncle Sam. That's gone. Another 20% leaves you 60% left.
Yep.
33%, when we get down to it, that's half, or 50%.
Yeah, and that was the
You're
other
not
thing I
far
was going to
off.
bring up. That was the other thing I was going to bring up is a lot of the guys, and a lot of times how it's been explained is it's 50% at door rate. 50%
Right.
at door rate can't happen. If it's 50% of profit margin, yeah, for the right technician, I'm down.
Right.
I really am. But
And I recognize that not every tech is going to be the tech that can
yeah,
command that price, is worth that price. And as
and
much as we want to empower everyone out there to, achieve the best that you can, we're going to have those guys out there that are green, that aren't going to command the 50%, that aren't motivated, and they're not going to command the 50%. And I mean, there's a lot of other factors in there.
yeah, and that's not to bag on the. I'm old school. I still think of them ABC tech. So if any of you guys don't like the ABC tech, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, but I mean, don't bag on your BNC techs. I can tell you right now, when it comes down to hard money, without diagnostic skills, anything else being put in is just a bonus point. My BNC techs on a profit margin table are worth more than my A techs, and it's a harsh thing because I consider myself an A tech, and I know what my rate is, and I know my owner probably is a little less happy every time he writes me a paycheck. But I mean, if you have someone banging 7-8 brake jobs and 10 flushes and cabin filters and alignments out all day, I probably just made $1,500 off that one technician that unfortunately only makes $20 an hour. So where I just made $1,500, he's only demanding me to pay him about $350. They're worth money. And for the technician side, I enjoy diagnostics. I really do. I enjoy digging through electrical nightmares. I'm quick at heavy line, which I hate myself for being quick at heavy line, but someone has to do it. I enjoy that kind of stuff. I understand I got to make a paycheck too, but sometimes it's kind of nice when it's like, hey, I've got this 7-line ticket that's a bunch of flushes and alignments and that kind of stuff. Here you go. Knock this one out. I've got this 2006, Nissan Pathfinder that's throwing all kinds of weird lights. I'm going to go be on that for the next 3 hours. It frees up my time. So I know not every technician demands the crazy money, but don't bag on the younger and the learning techs, because man, they have their place too. They really do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've heard it said that they're kind of the backbone of the shop. I mean, without them, you can't have the ATECs that can do the ATEC things.
Yeah.
I mean,
even if you have the ATECs, they'll never have time to do it, because you've got, for my shop, I mean, we consistently had 3-4 brake jobs and a timing belt in pretty consistently. It's hard to be able to let one of my ATEC guys dig through a mechanical fuel injection on an old Mercedes when it's, hey, I got all this other work, man. We got to get it done.
And there is, the classic stuff. That's a unique segment that has to be addressed carefully, because it's weird. Not many people know how to work on it, and there's nothing saying that there isn't a time and a place to, okay, we are backed up with brake jobs, easy stuff, all hands on deck. Let's just knock it out, get it done, and then you make some room for the stuff that's a little bit harder to work on.
Yeah. And sometimes sometimes those days where you just got to bang all that stuff out, man, it's nice because you're like, I've got 7 hours for the week, and then all of a sudden you do one day where it's just, hey, everyone needs to get all hands on deck, and you're like, cool, I'm at 23.
That was easy.
Yeah. So.
All I did was lift a couple of rotors on and off.
Yeah, got my arm workout.
Except for that time you get the lifted truck come in, you forget to take the wheels off when it's on the ground instead of sitting up here.
Or I've got a lot of German experience, but when you're switching between American cars and you get a Volkswagen Touareg or a Q7, some SUV that's German, and you forget that it doesn't have studs, and you zip that last one off, and you just hear this loud bang, and all of a sudden your feet hurt a whole bunch.
They don't have wheel studs?
No. There's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there's actually a reason why, because when I started out, I was Volkswagen, and I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world for that reason. You'd take the bolt out and the stupid thing would fall off. So if a car has studs and it somehow loses all 5 nuts, because it has studs, it's going to rotate the tire and it'll suck the tire underneath the car, which causes an accident every single time. If it has just bolts, when it breaks the bolts off, the car will separate from the car, or the tire will separate from the car, therefore reducing the possibility of an accident. Volkswagen came out with this back in it was like the 40s or 50s, and it was because they had an Autobahn and all the vehicles had to be capable of 100 miles an hour, or 100 kilometers an hour, 60. It was something they engineered into it and have stuck with since. Now, do I like it every time I drop a tire on my foot because I didn't remember? No. Nope.
No, I genuinely didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of European cars that are like that. Some Chryslers are like that because Chrysler got in bed with Fiat and Mercedes. So, yeah.
I'm just glad that we got away from doing the left-hand thread on one side and the right-hand thread on the other.
That has it. Yeah.
56 Olds I've got has that, and when I had to put new tires on it, a friend of mine that we're with down there, I said, hey, what's the chance that this has the wrong hand threads on this side? He says, I don't know. Try it and find out. Flip.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that would have tripped anybody up that hadn't seen it before.
So I bought that thing behind me when I was 14. I've owned it for 20 years at this point. First time I was driving it, I got a flat tire, and it happened to be on the wrong side of the car, and I sat on the side of the road trying to take the stupid lug nuts off for probably an hour and a half before my buddy's dad came over there and spun it the wrong way. It came right off, and I was so mad.
You spent an hour, breaking a sweat, killing yourself, and all you're doing is making it tighter.
Yeah, I was so pissed.
Let's see here. Hey, Pat Grant's back. I thought he was in the FB jail. Great. Welcome back, Pat. He says the Isuzu NPR still does that.
Yes. Yeah, the NPR is still like that.
Okay.
And that actually, some of the big truck guys will know is Bud wheels. Bud wheels have 2 nuts. So they have on your dually, they'll have your first nut and it tightens down, and it looks like a hollow stud, and you tighten it down, and then you put the second tire on and tighten down another nut on top of that one. If you don't know they exist, you're going to take that first nut off and spend the next 20 minutes trying to get the stupid inner dual off. Yeah. But a lot of those, they have reverse threads on too, just to add insult to injury.
Of course.
Yeah.
And as dumb as it sounds, I actually had an incident on my dually quite a few years back. I did the rear brakes and I put the duals on, and it had the big washered lug nut. And I'm driving down the road and things are just not feeling right. And the right rear is getting loose, pull into a parking lot, and my outer dual goes flunk. I'm like, well, I'm glad it's here. So I then spent the next week doing some very boring reading on torque specs of washered lug nuts. Turns out they actually have a very specific procedure to torque them down correctly.
Yeah.
And per the machinery handbook, ASE, and when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's like you're supposed to make sure that surface is oiled. Nobody ever does that, especially when they're rusty and crusty. So it's got to be clean. It's got to be oiled. It's got to be torqued, loosened, torqued, loosened, torqued, loosened. And you do that a certain combination of times, and magically it works.
Yeah.
And it's like, huh.
And if you don't follow it, exactly what you're talking about, you get a false reading and you're like, yeah, I torqued it down to 100, no problem. And driving down the road, it's like, what's this?
And there's even some big references to so many rotations of use, and then you retorque it again. Just put it out there, guys. There is some weird stuff that goes out there in the torque spec world. There's more fasteners than you ever thought existed before you go look at them. Why do we have these? Oh, that serves this purpose only.
Yeah.
All right. Which 99% of people will never see that 1% of uses.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we are over the hour mark.
Yeah, well, so I got to get going.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, anyone on here, I'm pretty easy to find. Send me a message if you have any questions. Eric, if you've got anyone that you need a second opinion or anything, I mean, I'm here for you guys. I want to see everyone succeed. Like I said, I have a little back burner project that I got to kind of be quiet on details with. I got some stuff that's got to be finished out before I can start talking too much about it. But I'm in the same boat as you guys. I want to see us all succeed. There is no competition. There's more than enough broken cars and car reprograms, and there's more than enough need for us all to make a ton of money.
Very much so. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you stay in the group like we all are. By the way, this is streamed on YouTube, so if you got people that wanted to hear it, send them to go over to the Mechanic Alliance YouTube channel. Subscribe while you're there. Send them the link so that way they can watch this one too. We're cross streaming all these now. And also be sure to check out mechanicalliance.com. Take a look at that, and there's all sorts of training resources available back there for you. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Monday for me, Tuesday for Tuesday Night Live, and we'll see you later.
Y'all have a good night.